When was the last time you guys cried?
Recently.
This morning.
Oh,
This
dang.
morning. Recently. What happened this morning?
Well, let's not talk about it. What were you saying?
What, recently?
With you. With our talks. Like, remember one time recently we had a talk?
One time recently. Remember a long time ago recently?
When we
I
were
think
talking,
you're remembering
I
this
cried.
as well as I am. I don't remember this.
How can I forget?
Remember when Isaac was way younger, but recently though?
Oh, right, yes.
No, yeah, it was a talk, and then we were crying, and then it was just like really beautiful, and then like that was the most recent time that I cried.
Joe, what about you? You don't come off to me as a crying
I
person.
cried in March or February. No, February maybe. Yeah.
Why? Or
Quarantine happened?
Huh?
yeah, that's right when it happened.
No.
No, why me?
Do you guys like? I guess maybe more for the guys, because I feel like girls are more inclined to be okay with crying.
I had a huge period of my life that
I cry every week, but not bawling. But like, I cry in movies all the time.
You guys ever watch Coco?
Yeah, I love
Every
There's two parts in that movie that make me fucking bawl.
when Miguel is singing to Mama Coco,
Oh, I know.
I'm just crying,
That
dude.
part, and then when in the cave, and then when the reveal happens, I'm like,
See, I'm getting chills already, dude. Not even.
yeah.
I cried at my wedding.
Oh, I did? Good job, dude.
The wedding that you invited me to that we ended up not going to.
Practice so hard.
He invited you, you didn't go?
Well, it got.
I took your wedding. I took your invite away.
Oh, okay.
So he.
And then he cried.
Yeah. That's why I cried.
Yeah, that was around March. Yeah.
February, March.
I thought it was in July. Oh my god. Fuck.
All right, so in Japan, there's a guy named Hidefumi Yoshida, and he's a
Of course.
yes, he's a self-described tier teacher, and he teaches a thing called Rui Katsu, which roughly translates.
Sounds delicious.
Ruikatsu.
Ruikatsu translates to tier seeking, and he's a tier teacher. So he is in the business of encouraging people to shed a few tears every once in a while as a way to release stress and to lead a happier life. And
Do you guys feel better after crying? Like,
Yeah.
do you feel, like, good?
Yeah. It feels like
about
you
during?
farted.
Yeah.
How about during crying?
I'm not even aware during crying. It's like more like any emotion that's uncontrollable. It just goes ham.
what kind of feelings do you feel when you're crying? Then if you relate that to farting, because to me
It's comedy, right? I'm making the comparison of a release. Like that's not how I really feel. Yeah, but like. No, like if I had to be serious about it, it is a different kind of release. Something that was trapped in your heart, in your chest, or whatever, and you didn't realize that this is something that you needed to let go.
True.
So the realization or whatever it is the freeing part of it.
Like a
I
fart.
get that afterwards, definitely.
exactly a fart.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I get that after the crying, but then like during the crying process, I guess because I'm not allowing myself to cry, I don't know what it is, but I get this gigantic knot in my throat and in my
Get that too,
chest.
sometimes,
and I'm
yeah.
just like, "Grr!" Like I can't even like fully like,
Let it all out.
Don't they call that like a frog in the throat? Is that what that is referring to?
sure.
Or am I just?
Or, no, wait, a frog in the throat. Isn't that when you have like a loogie stuck and you're like talking really weird and you have to go,
Isn't that
you
what
can't
David
breathe?
Blaine does?
yeah.
Yeah, like
He
milk.
literally puts frogs.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. My bad. That's what I was thinking of. Actually,
Have you seen this before?
No, for me,
I'm just a big David Blaine fan.
For that feeling that I get though, that knot in the chest feeling that I just like I end up feeling like I can't breathe. For that reason, I don't like crying and I don't like watching movies that intentionally make me cry.
What about after? Do you feel good? Like, oh, that was a good cry.
If it's like if like there's like this threshold I need to like surpass, and once I surpass that and I'm like wailing and I'm just like and like I can't hold it in, and like I'm literally like making like wailing sounds. After those cries, I feel amazing.
Yeah, that's the catharsis though. That you actually have to let it go out. Otherwise, it's just if it's leaking and it's not actually like flooding out, you don't really get the same kind of just that feeling of like
refreshment.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
it's like
Right.
peeing from the eyes.
Yeah. Peeing, farting from the
But
eyes.
it's like holding your pee in from the eyes when you're not allowing
Oh,
yourself.
so I guess I never hold it in then. When I cry, it it pees.
Yeah.
And I just let it go. And I'm like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah, I struggle with letting
That's good. That's good. That's a healthy peer.
Yeah, that is. I get UTIs all the time in my eyeballs.
You won't get a UTI if you do that.
He cries like this.
Because if it's out, it's out, man.
And then when you're almost done, you go. You try to shake it
You
off.
gotta shake it a little bit.
All right, so you know what? I just remembered. It was the stepdad video on our channel.
Oh, it was after that.
Oh, it was after that. Oh,
It was a private talk.
I don't remember. Okay. Anyways,
Those videos make me cry all the time.
No, because see, like even in that video, I was crying, right? But I was like holding it in because I'm like, fucking keep it together, girl.
gotcha.
See, that's the feeling that like I always run into because you know when you're like watching a movie and maybe it's because you always know that you're capable of crying and you never know when you're gonna get triggered. It's not like, oh, this is a sad movie, so I'm gonna cry. There's times when it's like a very sad movie and I don't cry, but there's times where it's like just a kind of sentimental moment that has some sort of relative thing to like, I don't know, daddy issues or some shit that like randomly hits you, then you start tearing up, then you're like, you have this conversation with yourself, you're like, don't fucking cry, why the fuck are you crying about this? You know what I mean? And it's like, you have that, when I run into those, I don't get my catharsis.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like hella talking.
Those are tear jerkers.
That's the majority of my cries.
Yeah.
Or like when you start tearing up and then you just do this to make it go back inside.
Yeah.
That's what I do. That's my move.
Suck it back into your
Try to
eyeballs.
like dry them out. This shit works, okay, people?
Yeah, no, that works too. I remember I went to go see this movie called In the Fault of Our Stars in the theater because my lady wanted to go see it.
Or I've seen that thumbnail.
Yeah, we went to the theater to go watch it, and it was the worst decision of my life because I cried so fucking hard, and everybody in the theater was just sobbing. And I got mad at my girl because I was like, why the fuck did you take me to this? Because I couldn't. It was like I was getting stressed out with how much I was crying. I was
Why
like,
was it?
it was just so sad, bro. It was such a bummer of a movie.
Really?
Super
Do you
sad.
find it? Is it hard for you to come to terms with crying in front of your girl?
No, because she knows that I'm like a little wuss anyway. But crying is not equated to being a wuss. I'm just as a
Yes, it is. You little wuss.
The fact that you said wuss makes you a wuss.
Yeah.
For me, that's when I feel like it's actually appropriate to cry.
When you're a little wuss.
No. When you're with
Weakness.
when you're with someone that you love.
Oh, so when you cry by yourself, it's
yeah.
way worse.
Because it's
right?
unconditional, right? Like they're
You know what,
fully
though?
accepted of who you are.
I still feel shame, like it's dumb shame, but it's just like you, that feeling where you know you're about to cry and you're still trying to like just fight it. Like, come on, just don't fucking cry right now. Like I do that in my head,
With
but
your
eventually it
girl?
comes out. Yeah, but it's not because I feel uncomfortable or I think she's gonna judge me. It's
Yeah.
just like this thing of like, don't
You
be
know
a
what?
pussy,
Wired that
Nick.
way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that.
You know what unleashes the waterworks for me is like when I already get teary-eyed and then someone notices it and then they go like,
What's wrong?
Yeah, I was crying.
you know it! I can't hide it! Yeah, man. Or like they don't even have to say anything. They give me a look that they know that my eyes are teary-eyed. I'm like, fuck. And then my lips get all
They're just like
quivering.
this.
And you start crying.
Now I'm fucking done, dude.
You know what my favorite thing is about crying is if you're with your girl and you start crying, that's the best time to ask for favors.
Yeah. Man, can you wash the dishes?
I haven't had a blowjob in 2 weeks.
That's an appropriate time.
They all they
They're like, oh, I'll give you one.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna test this out today, and I'll send you guys the results.
So if you want sex in the morning, have a dope conversation, cry your eyes
Cry my
out,
ass out.
and you're gonna get it.
Easiest way to cry to, pluck a nose hair.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like
just
that.
Boom.
No, there's a clear distinction. There's a clear distinction.
You gotta be a real cry.
Yeah, it has to be from the soul because people pick up on energies. Like you can literally feel the energy.
Casey's a good actor, though. Casey could be he could pull it off.
Am I a good actor?
I think he could pull it off.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, we'll see.
He's behind the camera, so he knows.
But yeah, so back to this teacher in Japan.
Cry teacher.
Tear
Cry teacher, yes.
Step one, you must think
Teacher.
of something very sad in your childhood.
Yeah, this is like Peter Pan flying. It's like, think of a very terrible thought.
Think of happy
Get
thoughts.
some fucking dust.
This is Japanese cry dust.
There's dust in your eyes. Now cry.
Japanese
It's like Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine when she goes, and then like
And
one,
the one tear comes out. Yeah. So he actually brings up the fact that movies, TV shows, and literature are his go-to tools to help people cry and release and stuff like that.
Dog videos get me.
You know which ones get me the most?
Which ones?
The ones where they find the dog like messed up.
Yes,
and it's
dude,
all, and it's all shy and shit, and then they fucking rescue and they
got, like,
feed
dreadlocks?
it.
That's exactly what makes.
And how beautiful the dog looks after, and the colors come
Like
out.
I feel like Kwan right now, dude. I feel like we're connecting beyond this, you know.
Can you help do my laundry? And then to wash the dishes?
He's about to ask you for a blowjob. Watch out.
Like, oh, Bart asked me to wash your dishes.
Dog.
Bart was crying earlier, and
kind of promised that we'll do the dishes. And
he was just so sad.
So in Japan, there's a stigma in Japan that people just don't want to cry. There's a huge, and I feel like this extends past Japan. I think the whole world is kind of on the same program. We're all wired to think that crying is not it's a weakness or whatever. And so this man he's just like, well, you know what? We should embrace the crying thing, because he was saying a lot of Japanese literature has a lot of characters crying and mourning and all that on this kind of stuff. And he says, well, the literature and like our folklore and folk tales are like that. How come the culture doesn't reflect that and what happened along the way? And then so a lot of it just happens to be like just kind of public
Probably
embarrassment.
drew a line between like, that's fantasy world, this is real world.
well, there's something that's lost in translation, and I think a lot of people don't understand because it's so opposite, right? So for American or Western culture, it's all about expression. It's all about individual, like, this is who I really am, get to know the real me. Versus Japan, it's actually, I respect you more when I give you a more professionalism. I respect you, I care about you more because I don't want to infect you with my bad vibes. So even within family members, right? They don't want to inconvenience each other. And they're like, yo, mom's having a tough time. Let's do our part by being selfless. And even though I'm having a tough time, I'm going to cater to her. So the society makes it where you're constantly thinking about someone else's needs to the point where your needs don't matter anymore.
Man, that's sad.
It is sad, but it's
Sounds kind
culture.
of like a dope community too, though.
It's culture, meaning like there is no right or wrong. This is how the society evolved, right? And then so there's got to be a balance, but here's the thing, right? Like it's gotten to the point where virtuous values is self-sacrifice. And what that means is you want to cry, you want to do your stuff, right? But if you start seeing that those needs are now burdened to other people, then you see it as a bad trait, which evolves like this, where people no longer understand how to cry or self-soothe.
Yeah. And then that's the part that he's trying to bring back, is that it is self-soothing. And then like he's even stating that he's never been sick the moment he's actually gone on a regimen of like crying at least once a week. And for him crying doesn't count when it's like teary-eyed or whatever. Like you,
full sob.
You do need a, like, you hit it right on the nail of like, you need to kind of like let it all out to fully get that your spirits back up or whatever.
But the question is, how much is too much crying? Like, imagine if you were hanging out with, like, and he was crying like at least once a day. Would you feel
No, but
like
it
a
doesn't
little?
seem like that would even happen in this case, because he has like a scheduled time of like release. So that wouldn't bleed into the rest of the days or the rest of the week.
True, it's like a
It's more
workout.
control.
Yeah,
It's like practicing crying in a controlled environment because you don't want it to be uncontrollable.
What if it wasn't controlled?
So he's like, ah!
Yeah, a different kind of
Well,
problem.
it's like a werewolf thing, though, right? Like you know it's a full moon, so you're like, sorry guys, I gotta go somewhere real quick.
But this
We're not
is
just
a
happy-
service that's like extreme though, like for people that are extreme individuals. This is not normal Japan, you know?
That's like my mom. Like my mom, if I bring up grandma, she's sort of like, or if I go, hey mom, remember when you used to beat me? Those two topics immediately.
Well, that just means like she has a lot that she hasn't released about it.
She needs to eat some katsu and fucking get that shit out.
Or she needs to do cry meditation.
Or she's crying from reminiscing. Like, oh yeah, I remember those times where I beat you up. Like, oh, man, those were good times, man.
And
If grandma was here, she'd beat your ass too.
She'd be so proud.